Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. I'm Phuong from 19BSM. So today I'm gonna talk about the leader of China in the past. Maybe you guys know his name is Sun Yat-Sen. And today I have 9 main parts to share with you. And the first part is about his life. Sun Yat-sen is a professional revolutionary whose life and activities wrote the textbook of the Chinese rebellion. Moreover, he was the one who removed the dead and dying ranches um, of the Chinese thought and replaced them with revolutionary idea. In addition, he was born in 1866 in a peasant family in southern China. He knew what it was like to spend hours in the rice fields trying to grow enough to eat. However, his life changed when his brother, who had emigrated in Hawaii, invited Sun to over to join him. In Hawaii, Sun received an education from English missionaries. He learned all about how the England was governed with a parliament and laws, and he compared this with the emperor and mandarins in China. When he finished his education in Hawaii, he decided to return China and began to criticize the government and the society. In 1894, he began to work as the doctor in Canton, a city in southern of China. However, he also worked for the revolution, and when his first attempt failed in 1895, he fled Tokyo, the capital of Japan. Besides, Sun had already married a woman which was chosen by his parents. In 1911, Sun was elected to be interim resident of the new Republic in China. In 1924, he went to the North China and gave a speech in support of the unification of China and the end of the warlord rule. And a year later, his son died of the liver cancer. And the second part is about the vision of Sun. There is a saying on the internet that reminds me until now. A leader without a vision is a leader without a head. A leader without a vision is a wandering leader. A leader without a vision is a rolling stone without a mast. To a leader, a vision becomes a set of goals that one creates to achieve. The vision of this leader, Sun Yat-sen, started here, which is to overthrow the Qing and the reform or modernize China. Because in 1883, he went to Hong Kong and saw the contrast between his poor village and this metropolis right before his eyes. About the technology, banking, modern transportation, clean streets, and massive buildings. Typically, he wanted to reform agriculture, open free trade, and leverage China's human skill. And he's also create a revived China society. It is a secret revolutionary organization to expel the Qing and restore the Chinese rule. And the next part is about ethics. Ethics and leadership are often intertwined like this quote. This quote: "Ethics is the heart of the leadership, and a good leader is ethical and effective." Sun Yat-Sen is not really an ethical leader in some situations. Like her son left his follower, especially his oldest friend, Lu Ha-dong, who helped him defeat with the idol all those years ago, and didn't. And when Lu Ha-dong was arrested, he didn't say a word despite being tortured. And that's why Sun is an ethical leader. But however, in some situations, like he put the country upon himself when he when he want to avoid the collapse and the civil war. He resigned the residency too young. This is minimize the harm and maximize the benefit. And the next part is about basis of power. There are many types of power in the leadership, but for Sun Yat-sen leadership, there's only two types of the power he used. Those are referent power and expert power. For referent power, the followers, the members of the revived China society are willing to sacrifice everything they have to help the leader. Typically, when Sun needs money to carry his country, his brother agreed to sell some property and some sold their businesses, and the other gave what they could organize the fundraising events. For the next power, Sun used his knowledge to persuade them to participate in donating to the revolution. For example, he gave the eloquent speeches to attract crowds in Honolulu, Chinatown. And how Sun empowered the people being led. When Sun's ally formed a political party called the Kuomintang, or the Nationalist Party, to oppose Young. But to keep the peace, Sun had to try to be a political, largely handed control to his friend Sean Sharon, and Sun took the government position, and his friend didn't make him disappointed. When the Nationalists won an overwhelming majority in 1930 elections. In addition, most of the soldiers who revolted to China actually admired Sun more than Sun, and this is why he was chosen by the Kuomintang, and Sun to lead them against Young. The next thing I want to talk is about leadership principles of Sun. The leadership principle of Sun are set clear vision. Leadership is about people. That means communicating and engaging is essential. And the last thing is have to develop future leaders. A part of being a great leader, is to make sure there is someone else who can take over your role when necessary, like Sun Sharon. The way Sun understood his followers is to communicate with them For example, he developed a group of friends in Hong Kong, the middle-class professional like him, who loved to talk politics. And the next thing is about the effectiveness of Sun. Sun is one of the most effective leader that I have known until now. Through what he did, he set the clear vision and goal to set the right direction. After many failures of the uprising, Sun still constantly tries to get up to continue fighting. Throughout the process, Sun is someone who inspires and motivates his followers. He's also good at delegating tasks by dispatching agents throughout Southeast Asia to open the new chapters of the revived China society. And according to my research, Sun has a lot of supporters, but there are only 3 main supporters during his reform China are Liu Haodong, Dr. James Cantley, and his new wife. About Liu Haodong, when he burned the membership book to avoid so the police could not find out who had joined and supported the revived China society. And when he was arrested, he didn't reveal anything, even under the torture. About the Dr. James Kenley, he saved Sun from the being kidnapped out of the Chinese legation. And the last person is his new wife. She supports Sun as much as possible, and she soon rose indispensable to set down his political philosophy. And we continue to developing others. One of the Sun Yat-Sen's great legacies was the creation and development of his political philosophy of the 3 principles of the people, had greatly contributed to the socialist life, and is often summarize the nationalism, democracy, and the people's livelihood. Is it considered the basic of the policy of the Republic of China, implemented by the Kuomintang Party? It is also said that to have influenced the Chinese Communist Party under Mao Zedong. The principle. So we look briefly about the 3 principles of Sun. The principle of nationalism. Sun intends to overthrow the Qing dynasty. For Sun, the principles of democracy represent a constitutional government of the West. The principle of the people's livelihood can be understood as the social welfare. Sun hopes all the farmers can be given the farmland to work. In addition, his 3 principles greatly influenced China until now. Typically in Taiwan, his principles are held to high standard. The last one is about the major leadership lesson from Sun. The main leadership I took from the Sun Yat-Sen is learning how to craft this different message aimed at different audiences. For example, if the West liked the peaceful revolution, he immediately attacked the Catholic faith caliphate and pushed for reform. And for Sun said the bold ideas for Chinese audiences. Also, the next lesson is about the perceived value, which one is more important, just like how Sun put the country before himself by resigning as a resident and setting power to York. In conclusion, Sun Yat-sen is the great leader of China, and he was a revolutionary with a great merit, and he found the Republic of China and made many contributions to the Chinese politics. Sun remains the best among 20th century Chinese leaders for earning trade trust in mainland China and Taiwan. Personally, I don't like the way his leadership style, and his leadership style doesn't inspire me a lot than like Winston Churchill. And that thanks for listening.